Alright, welcome to part 6 of Musical Layers. So, where we left off last time, we were playing with levels and trying to understand a little bit about the distortion that was happening. And I mentioned I would talk about compression a little bit, so let me do that before I get into the different layers. Yes, thank you, Reaper. We know that the sample rate cannot be changed because the following applications are playing audio, and you don't say which applications those are, but I do know which ones they are. So that's all that matters. Okay. So, compression. The way a compressor works, and this is very basically, and I actually learned this on a physical compressor, and that's how I was able to transfer it to these plug-in compressors. The compressor I learned it on, actually the digital compressor that I used to work with, looked more like this, which is very computer-esque. If I can coin a word there, which I can because I just did. So the compressors on my computer were computer-esque, and the real one was real. So the Scarlett compressor, though, looks kind of like the real compressor that I learned on because it has knobs as opposed to sliders or faders for all of the settings. So I'll show you on the Scarlett compressor. First thing we have is our threshold. 0 being, in this case, being the loudest volume, and everything else is below that. So it's not necessarily that you can't hear these, it's just the way it's measured. So I have the threshold here at -10, and that means that when the sound coming in reaches about here, which is where -10 would be, because here's 0, 6, 12, 18, these would be your negative numbers here, then it will start to apply gain reduction of a certain amount. And how much it does, it depends on how much higher than -10 it is coming on the input, or it's reaching on the input. So in this case we have our trumpet, which we need to get into. And right now it's at -18, so it's not doing anything. So it gets louder over here. Actually, I can make the compressor work here. This one is probably working. Okay, that's kind of hurting my ears. So if I come back in here, yeah, okay, thank you, contact. Come back over here. Here you can see that, this one's gain reduction is in VU meters. This one is in the regular meters, I'm going to call them, since I don't remember the name. it's not hitting it hard enough, but if it was, you would see the red thing come down here and say it's reducing the volume, just like this would move over there. Okay, so that is compression, very simply put. So at this point, at this point, the trumpet is not the loud thing, it's the other things. Now, no matter what I was doing in the sections in here, it was still topping out. And so one thing we can do about that, which I don't do often, but it is a thing you can do, is you can lower the master volume and bring that down, and then so you can see that is the volume of everything. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm actually going to turn off the compressors because they aren't actually compressing anything. Let's see what that is. Yeah, I think I'll leave the compressors on. So I could have them on or off. I'd turn them off, then turn them back on, as you saw. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put some compression on the master fader. Now, show master track. And just before I turn it down, so I could do that. Now, I think I'll go ahead and use the Scarlet compressor, which is right here. Okay, so let us see. Now by default it's set at -40, and these other settings, oh, I forgot to mention attack and release in the compression, didn't I? So your attack is in milliseconds, and on this one release is in seconds. So I believe it's seconds because it's just S and MS here. So 0.5, a little over 0.5, and attack is I'm going to say 15 milliseconds here. Sometimes I put it at 2 if I want it to be really quick. But that's just when it's catching the peaks and not really grabbing the whole sound. So that's your next setting, and then your threshold. Okay, threshold determines when it lights up, and it lights up when it hits that number and above it, and then how much it's reduced depends on your ratio. And these, so that these are kind of like, as I remember, they're kind of like stairs, like steps. So many steps, 2 steps this way, and then 1 step down, or is it 1 step up and 2 steps down? I really need to review this, how this works, but I just I kind of do it intuitively now. Anyway, we are wanting to see if this will work, so let's try it. Right there is to think that it sounds better with it off because it's louder. You see? Yeah. adjust the threshold. But really all it's done is turn it down, so I wouldn't necessarily say it sounded better before. It was just louder. Okay, let's put it at -10. Okay. What I do understand about these numbers is that the higher you have it says in 3.1, 5.1, the more it is shaping the tone of the sound. And you can sort of hear what it's doing. And so this is less tonal change. And another thing is that the threshold does affect that too. Is if you have the threshold down here, it'll really be pumping. Let's hear it. And you should hear the compressor light up. Oh, yeah. Here we go. It's not doing it this time. But, okay, let's, well, maybe if I do something like that. Oh, you could hear it there with the, listen. So you hear how it kind of opened up and then it just crushed it. No, that's not what we want. So let us set our threshold at a reasonable level. And I'm going to say -10. And I think I just put it to default. So let's see. Yes, go ahead. And that's good there. I don't want a lot of heavy compression. I just want it to be light like that. Now normally I would put a multi-band compressor, but I don't think Reaper has one. It just has a regular compressor. Okay, so that is handling the distortion. So after this, we'll just continue to tweak it a bit more, but the song is getting to a point where the other adjustments are just kind of maybe a little nitpicky. So so that's where the song sits now. So I'm probably going to move on to another one and then come back to this one and tweak a few things, but there isn't really much more that you can do with it other than maybe adding different instruments, but I think it's already sounds full enough with the limited instruments that it has. Alright, so that's it for this time, and we'll catch you in the next video with a different song and exploring the different things we can do there.